Our love story began like a fairy tale. I met Kemi during a fashion show where I was showcasing my designs. She stood out in the crowd, not just because of her beauty, but because she believed in my talent in a way no one else ever had. We connected instantly, and within months, we were inseparable. It felt like we were meant to be together. But as quickly as love came, so did the obstacles. Kemi came from a well-off family, one that looked down on my humble beginnings. Her father, a businessman, wanted her to marry someone successful, someone with money and status. To him, I was just a struggling tailor with dreams that would never amount to anything. Kemi's family made it clear that if she chose me, they would cut her off entirely. At first, I told her to walk away. I didn't want to be the reason she lost everything. But Kemi wouldn't hear of it. "What's the point of all their wealth if I can't have the life I want?" she said. Her courage gave me strength, and we decided to fight for our love. Our journey was far from easy. My business was still growing, and money was tight. There were days when I couldn't even afford the basics, but Kemi stood by me. She helped me so late into the night when clients demanded urgent work. She never once complained when we couldn't go out on fancy dates or when we had to live in a one-bedroom apartment with a leaking roof. But society didn't make it any easier. Friends and extended family whispered behind our backs, judging her for lowering her standards, and me for being ambitious but unrealistic. Some even questioned if our love could survive the pressure. And as much as we tried to ignore the noise, it began to affect us. The stress grew heavier as Kemi's family continued to intervene. Her father would send her gifts and letters, trying to lure her back home. Her mother would call, crying, saying she was ruining the family name. At one point, Kemi started questioning if we had made the right decision. "What if they're right?" she asked one night. "What if love isn't enough?" I didn't have an answer. I could see her struggling, and it broke me. I began working twice as hard to prove I could give her a life worth staying for. Slowly, my fashion business started to grow. Clients began to recognize my work, and orders started pouring in. But with success came new problems. I was always busy, too busy to spend time with Kemi. The long nights I spent at my sewing machine started to feel like a wall between us. She was proud of me, but I could tell she was lonely. I thought I was doing the right thing by focusing on building a future for us, but I forgot that the future didn't matter if I was losing her in the present. One day, after an argument, Kemi packed her bags. "I love you, but I don't know if I can do this anymore," she said, tears streaming down her face. I begged her to stay, promising I'd do better. She stayed, but I knew this was my wake-up call. I started making changes. I delegated some of my work, so I could spend more time with her. We went on simple dates again, just like when we first fell in love. We really talked, about our fears, our dreams, and what we wanted from life. Slowly, we started rebuilding what we had almost lost. Now, years later, I look back at everything we went through. Was it worth it? The truth is, love isn't about perfection. It's not about fairy tales or grand gestures. It's about choosing each other every day, even when it's hard. It's about the sacrifices, the compromises, and the small moments that remind you why you started in the first place. Kemi and I still face challenges, but we've learned to tackle them as a team. She believed in me when no one else did, and for that, I'll always be grateful. Our love may not have been easy, but it's ours, and that makes it worth every fight.